What superpower would you like then?
I came up with one. I'd be bullshit man. There's so many meetings going on where people are bullshitting. I'd just like to walk in, I wouldn't need a special costume, just dress like this. And I'd fly in, I'd go bullshit. You're talking bullshit, and they'd go, oh, it's bullshit man. And I go, yeah, it is bullshit man. You're talking bullshit. And eventually, people would stop talking shit.
I feel it's important to discuss what is happening at the moment. We're going to break this down into 4 parts. Let's start with the virus. Now, this virus, first of all, I want as a disclaimer to say that it's really important to rely on official sources of information regarding the virus, since they would never lie to you. Okay, so what's up? Well, here's what's up. This virus is the trigger for the biggest power play we've seen since 2001. This is a perfect excuse for an economic crash, a controlled demolition, if you will, and one which defers responsibility from those who are actually responsible and blames it on this virus. As well as this, it will also usher in the age of the cashless society. We've discussed before central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, whether that be Christine Lagarde, the former head of the IMF and current president of the European Central Bank.
And on the latter point, the digital currency, we have set up a task force, and we will accelerate the effort of this task force, drawing on the resources of the entire Euro system, meaning the national central banks that already participate in that research, that have already committed to the project in terms of experimentation, pilots here and there. So harnessing on all those experiments that have taken place and all the research that has already put into this effort, together with the work that has been done here also, we will, I think we're trying to do that by mid-2020.
Or Mark Carney, the now former governor for the Bank of England and current United Nations Special Envoy for Climate Action and Finance.
You dropped a bombshell in the luncheon there. That's the way I was described. It's almost like a mic drop. You are exiting this job, almost like a mic drop. And you said we need to go to a global virtual currency. It's a 23-page speech. It's very heavy.
Let's have a look at the IMF report from November 2018 regarding digital currencies. An interesting section is the following. This note contributes to a growing body of literature on CBDC. Others have already explored this topic, including international organizations such as the Bank for International Settlements and several central banks. It's worth a reminder that the BIS, the Bank for International Settlements, is the central bank for central banks. Now let's have a look what they have to say. First of all, we have a report from March 2018. Of particular interest, CBDC, central bank digital currency, could enrich the options offered by a central bank's monetary policy toolkit, e.g. by allowing for a strengthening of pass-through of policy rate changes to other interest rates or addressing the zero lower bound, or the even lower effective bound on interest rates. More recently, a BIS report from March 1st, 2020 looks at the technology of retail central bank digital currency. Of particular interest, current electronic retail money represents a claim on an intermediary, rather than functioning as the digital equivalent of cash. CBDCs could potentially provide a cash-like certainty for peer-to-peer payments. At the same time, they should offer convenience, resilience, accessibility, privacy, and ease of use in cross-border payments. The aim is not to promote or highlight any particular approach, but to lay some groundwork for more systematic discussions. So central bank digital currencies have been in the works for a while, and they are part of the plan, or the agenda as some people like to call it. Coincidence is a funny thing. Now let me repeat the following stats. In 2019, 1,200 CEOs left their positions, which was a record year for exits. In January 2020, 219 CEOs left their positions, which was also a record. Let's think about this rationally for a moment. Compared to the rate of exits for the record year, in the first month of 2020, there's been an increase of around 50% on that record year in terms of the rate of departures of CEOs. Now, on the topic of CEOs, the financial metrics which incentivize executives have become far removed from operating performance. As an example, here's a story from the end of 2014. When health insurer Humana Incorporated reported worse than expected quarterly earnings in late 2014, including a 21% drop in net income, it softened the blow by immediately telling investors it would make a $500 million share repurchase. This means a stock buyback. In addition to soothing shareholders, the surprise buyback benefited the company's senior executives. It added around 2 cents to the company's annual earnings per share, allowing Humana to surpass its $7.50 earnings per share target by a single cent, and unlocking higher pay for top managers under terms of the company's compensation agreement. Thanks to Humana hitting that target, CEO Bruce Broussard earned a $1.68 million bonus for 2014. This summarizes perfectly what has happened. The main source of demand for equities has been corporations, i.e. stock buybacks. And this makes sense. Incentives drive human behavior. Pretty simple. Now, this is the really infuriating part. These corporations now want bailouts. And by the way, this will probably happen. And just like 2008, profits will be privatized and losses will be socialized. The airlines, which believe they are entitled to bailouts, spent 96% of free cash flow on buybacks. Let me repeat that. The airlines which now want a bailout spent 96% of free cash flow on buybacks. Another piece to this is encryption and privacy. The following image has circulated on Reddit over the last few days. It reads, "While all of the COVID-19 news has been going on, the US government has been sneakily trying to remove end-to-end encryption, and it's been working its way through Congress. If this passes, the government will be able to see all of your messages and listen to all of your calls, essentially removing all privacy from your conversations. Repost this to spread the message far and wide, even if you don't live in the US. This concerns the Earn It Act, or the Eliminating Abusive and Rampant Neglect of Interactive Technologies Act, for short. The premise of the bill is that technology companies have to earn Section 230 protections rather than being granted immunity by default, as the Communications Decency Act has provided for over 2 decades. Many consider Section 230 to be a pillar of the internet and the businesses that operate on top of it. Of particular importance is the following. When internet companies become liable for what their users post, those companies aggressively moderate speech. Let me repeat. When internet companies become liable for what their users post, those companies aggressively moderate speech. This is not new, of course. They've tried to get rid of end-to-end encryption before, using terrorism, drug dealing as excuses to no avail, but now they've brought children into it. And we all know that the well-being of children is their top priority after all.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways.
The issue with conspiracy theories is that they're all put into a single box. Any information which may be rational or involves some level of critical thinking or may be close to the truth is discredited. And the whole MO of a conspiracy theory is that people of significant power and wealth conspire to maintain and grow that power and wealth. Anyone who doesn't believe that to be the case is known as a fool.
Bonjour, gentlemen.
Lord Bogdanov, Crab 17 was a stunning success.
Ça soit une verdure verte et impressionne. Un crabe se vendit, noix souverain. Mr. Rothschild.
Forgive me, my lord.
Continue with the plan. Do not disappoint me. And garnish his richesse.
Now, are some of these perpetrators psychopaths who lack empathy? Maybe. Are there a small group of people who control the world and have an inordinate amount of power and wealth? Yes.
There's about 150 people that run the world. Anybody who wants to go into politics, they're all fucking puppets, okay? There are 150, and they're all men, that run the world, period, full stop. They control most of the important assets. They control the money flows.
Now, aside from being a source of entertainment and comedy, of course,
Bullshit!
this is a financial channel. So, can we get anything from an investment perspective that is practical? Disclaimer, this is not investment advice. Well, the move to central bank digital currencies is particularly bullish for a particular asset. I mentioned this before, but I think Bitcoin is a very, very interesting story in this century. First of all, it is based on the SHA-256 algorithm, which was developed by the NSA in 2001. Moreover, the NSA could have, if it wanted to, destroyed Bitcoin early on by, for example, a 51% attack. So why now allow a decentralized network of value transfer to develop, whereas previous attempts were snuffed out? Well, going back to central banking, how about a centralized central bank digital currency, CBDC, that will allow a greater level of control, can facilitate negative interest rates, easier collection of taxes, etc., etc. For this to work, you need to usher it in gradually such that people have a decentralized alternative, i.e. Bitcoin, and the mass public is more receptive to digital currencies more broadly. So BTC is the gold and CBDC is the new fiat. In conclusion, because of this virus, things have got very chaotic, but out of chaos comes order.